Chapter 140. An Emperor's Death. Boom, 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 boom. It was only after crashing through 20 huge mountains in a row that Liu Yang's body stopped and plunged into a mountain arm. The earth dragon vein of the ancient sea steeply let out a long roar. It rushed towards the place of the earth dragon vein where Liu Yong had previously stood. Boom. The two dragons tore into each other. Although Liu Yang's earth dragon vein was bigger, but earlier, Huang Fu Chaoji's dragon vein self-explosion had already left it dying. So where was it a match for Gu Hai's earth dragon vein? And all of a sudden, in the twinkling of an eye, it was torn off by Gu Hai's earth dragon vein. Ong. Liu Yang's dragon vein let out a mournful cry and was torn in half in one go. Roar. Gu Hai's dragon vein, however, opened its mouth and devoured it, swallowing the tail of Liu Yang's dragon vein in one gulp. Although the other party was huge, it was as if Gu Hai's dragon vein would rather hold on and swallow it. Amidst the struggles of Liu Yang's dragon vein, it swallowed the other party's tail the twinkling of an eye, and opened its mouth towards its upper body. In the rolling smoke, Gu Hai's golden dragon vein floated out of the earth. The dragon claw rumbled and stepped on that Liu Yang's half of the dragon's body, and opened its mouth to continue tearing and swallowing. Eat, eat, eat. Weak flesh is strong. Gu Hai's dragon vein was a strong dragon at the moment. Gu Hai ignored the earth dragon vein, and instead stepped up and flew towards the mountain peak that Liu Yong was caught in. After piercing through 20 large mountains, Liu Yong stopped. However, at this moment, Liu Yong had also reached the end of his life in general. His entire body was covered in blood, and he was dying. There was only one breath left. Cough, cough, cough. Liu Yong kept spitting out blood as he looked at Gu Hai, who was slowly flying closer. Looking at Gu Hai, it wasn't a person. It was as if he saw countless people who had been killed by himself standing behind Gu Hai. And those people, each one of them, had a monstrous grudge against himself. Each hated to eat their own flesh and gnaw their own bones. Gu Hai's power surged down him, but Liu Yong was dying. The victory was already decided. It wasn't Liu Yong who pinched Gu Hai to death, but Gu Hai was able to pinch Liu Yong to death at any time. Gu Hai's eyes were red as he looked at Liu Yong. Wanqing, today I can finally avenge you. Hair, Long Wanqing. Ha 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 ha. Liu Yong laughed miserably in his weakness. I die because of Long Wanqing. Ha ha. No. It's Long Xiaoyu. It's Long Xiaoyu. Liu Yang's eyes were blurry, and he seemed to see an aura-rich woman again. And in his mind, countless images filled up in an instant. Uncle King Liu Yong, father asked me to bring you a birthday gift. But look again. I myself have prepared a bigger one for you. Oh. Uncle King Liu Yong, your zither playing is amazing. Teach me. Uncle Liu Yong, this time when father held the great competition of kings, I voted for you, and I even dragged several people to vote for you. In an instant, Long Xiaoyu's dialogue with herself in the past suddenly filled her entire brain. While he was dying, a trace of warmth appeared in Liu Yang's eyes. Uncle Liu Yong, why did you kill me? All the images were suddenly all fixed on the scene where Long Xiaoyu finally died. It was himself who had killed Long Xiaoyu with his own hands through Li Haoran, and that look in Long Xiaoyu's eyes before she died suddenly appeared in front of Liu Yang's eyes. Now, Benefit smoked. Huh, Xiaoyu, Uncle Wong is sorry. Liu Yang's eyes reddened. Pfft. While spitting out blood, Liu Yong shed tears of pain. Who are you? Liu Yang's 3 souls and 7 spirits have dissipated. The previous punch had nearly killed Liu Yong, and now Liu Yong was only returning to life. He was, already, no different from death, as his fist stopped in front of Liu Yong. Gu Hai's face became gloomy. Boom. Steeply, there was a loud air-breaking sound in the distance. However, it was the divine martial king with 100 flying boats that had suddenly arrived close by. The divine martial king rushed with all his might. But when he arrived outside of Foothill God City, he saw an earth dragon vein that was swallowing the last dragon head of Liu Yang's earth dragon vein alive. Ancient Sea's earth dragon vein, eating Liu Yang's earth dragon vein. Sima Changkong said in surprise. Hiss, Gu Hai won. Behind them were all the huffing sounds of a group of generals. The ancient sea dragon vein, which had risen in many circles, slowly sank into the earth with a dragon roar. At this moment, everyone's gazes were suddenly turned towards the ancient sea. With a single punch, Gu Hai seemed like he was going to punch and kill Liu Yong. Gu Hai, wait! The divine martial king roared with a steep face change. Gu Hai defeated Liu Yong in a big way. Sima Changkong was still somewhat incredulous. The countless generals behind him even revealed shocked expressions. Gu Hai's fist stopped in front of Liu Yong. It did not strike down. At this moment, the divine martial king's army arrived, and Gu Hai abruptly turned his head to look. However, he saw the divine martial king flying in quickly with some of his subordinates, who, in the blink of an eye, the crowd arrived in front of Gu Hai. Gu Hai, don't kill him, Sima Changkong roared sharply. Gu Hai looked at Sima Changkong in confusion. Liu Yong is still alive. Hu. Fortunately, Sima Changkong let out a long breath. Marshal, Mr. Sima, Gu Hai frowned. Alas, not far away from the land of a mountain peak, but a sigh suddenly came from it. The crowd turned their heads to look. However, they saw that under that mountain peak, a man in green clothes slowly walked out. Li Shenji. Gu Hai's face sank. Divine Martial King had just arrived with his army. When did this Li Shenji come? Could it be that he had been waiting in this vicinity for a long time? Has he been quietly watching all this time? Also, what did his sigh just now mean? Regretting that I didn't kill Liu Yong. Greetings, Grand Marshal Zhenan, Li Shenji said respectfully. King Shenwu coldly glanced at Li Shenji. Li Shenji, did you enjoy watching? Li Shenji faintly burst into a bitter smile. I have also just arrived. HMPH, you want to watch Gu Hai kill Liu Yong, right? The Divine Martial King said in a cold voice. Divine Martial King misunderstood. I just arrived. Li Shenji bit the bullet and just arrived. HMPH, the Divine Martial King let out a cold snort. Turning his head, the Divine Martial King looked towards the dying Liu Yong. Uncle King Liu Yong, Divine Marshal is late. Gu Hai narrowed his eyes at the Divine Martial King. On the side, Sima Changkong bitterly looked at Gu Hai and said, King Liu Yong has committed a rebellion this time. His crime deserves to be punished, but you shouldn't be the one to kill him. Gu Hai didn't throw a final punch, not because of the Divine Martial King's shout, but rather Liu Yong had already had his soul scattered and was pretty much killed by himself. Turning his head, Gu Hai looked at Liu Yong with a gloomy face. Liu Yang's words just now, Gu Hai heard them clearly. He looked back. He was regretting it. But what was the use of that? Uncle King Liu Yong, come back to the imperial capital with me. As long as you admit your mistake, Father Saint, remembering his old feelings, should not kill you. King Shenwu called out. Cough. Cough. Liu Yong, however, did not know where the strength came from and actually slowly stood up. The crowd looked at Liu Yong in shock. However, they saw Liu Yong slowly straightening his dragon robe. He was so weak that he couldn't even open his eyes, and he also tidied up his hair. After tidying up his grooming, he turned his head to look towards the north. Even if I die in body, I'll try it once, Liu Yong said weakly. There was a moment of silence from the crowd. The only thing I regret is that I was too ambitious back then and killed Girl Xiaoyu. The only thing I'm sorry for is only Girl Xiaoyu, Liu Yong said weakly and bitterly. The Divine Martial King frowned slightly. I am the Great Ying Emperor, the Saint of Dojin. I treat you as a brother, not to be your vassal. Have you forgotten the oath we made when we first swore? I, Liu Yong, I am not a bird in your cage. I have lost, but I will always be the Lord of Great Ying, forever, Liu Yong weakly and resolutely said. In his determination, Liu Yong drew the sword on his body. Bear Yin. The long sword was drawn. It was suddenly placed on his neck. At this moment, everyone was silent for a while and did not obstruct or open their mouths. Great Jin Sant, I am not a bird in your cage, and I don't want to be imprisoned by you for eternity. I am the Great Ying Emperor. Death is also the death of an emperor. Liu Yong gave a final cry. Bear. With a sword, Liu Yong cut his own neck, blood shooting out in all directions. Tada! The long sword fell to the ground. It was already returning. A sword to cut himself was just a form of dignity. Under the last sword, Liu Yong completely arrived down. No sound. Around a good silence. At the same time, Yingdu remaining a trace of luck. Boom completely collapsed and open. Load the coffin and bring it back to Kaodu. King Shenwu said in a deep voice. Yes. An ambition, in exchange for countless injuries. Before he died, he realized everything. But what's the use? What's the use of that? Can a dead person still come back to life? People of Great Han, Liu Yong is dead. Thank you all for lending your strength. Gu Hai gathered himself and shouted, boom. The sound instantly traveled to the ears of all the children of Great Han. Many thanks, Your Majesty. Thank you, Your Majesty. It was only by himself that he had defeated all of Liu Yang's ambitions with a single punch, and dispersed Liu Yang's 3 souls and 7 spirits with a single punch. Only then did Liu Yong realize his regret. Giving up all hope, he eventually killed himself. Long Wanqing's revenge was avenged. Long Xiaoyu's revenge was avenged. Huang Fu Chaoji's revenge was avenged. Everyone's revenge was avenged. Gu Hai, however, was not happy. In the past, with Long Wanqing's great hatred, he could fill his heart with hatred, but at this moment, with his great hatred avenged, he was instantly empty inside. Shenwu King left with his army. Li Shenji watched a play, and also quietly left. The borrowed strength of the people on Gu Hai's body was slowly dissipating. After all, it was only borrowed strength that couldn't be stored for too long. With a sense of frustration, Gu Hai slowly walked towards the middle of the foothill god city. Greetings to my emperor, long live my emperor. At the entrance of the city, a group of officials paid their respects with extreme sincerity. Long live my emperor, long live 10,000 years. Long live the Great Han dynasty. In the city, the people paid their respects with extreme sincerity. The people were grateful to Gu Hai, recognized Gu Hai, worshipped Gu Hai, and the thoughts of gratitude were transformed into merit, which accumulated into qi, and went straight to the sea of qi clouds. Boom. The loss of qi that was caused by the relocation of the capital from the 9 and 5 islands to this place was quickly replenished. Not only Foshen City, but the people of the other 11 cities also gratefully paid their respects. Long live the emperor! Long live the emperor! Long live the Great Han dynasty! Rolls of qi converged over Lushen City. Gu Hai was officially recognized by the 12 cities, and the Great Han dynasty had entered the divine continent from this moment onwards. The dynasty expanded to the 12 giant cities of the divine continent,